Well, thank you everyone for joining us here today. We are here to celebrate a major announcement of federal support to reconstruct the John Nolen Drive bridges. John Nolen Drive is an iconic gem in the heart of the city of Madison. It's a path that brings residents and visitors into the downtown on our unique isthmus, showcasing an unforgettable skyline, which you can see behind us. And it's an incredible piece of infrastructure that serves bicyclists, pedestrians, public transit, and private vehicles all in one multimodal facility. And that's why the upcoming reconstruction of John Nolen Drive is an opportunity for us to continue improving connectivity, safety, sustainability, equity, and access all at once. We at the City of Madison are so proud to accept this Bridge Investment Program grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation. And I want to thank President Biden, Secretary Buttigieg, and especially Senior Advisor and White House Infrastructure Coordinator Mitch Landrieu, who is here to celebrate with us today. I also want to thank Senator Baldwin and Congressman Pocan for their support of the grant applications, as well as our state partners, including Governor Evers, Secretary Thompson from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, and Secretary Blumenfeld for their contributions in this joint effort. And I want to thank the representatives from labor who are here with us today. This is more than just an infrastructure investment. It's also an investment in high quality, good paying jobs for our community. Our city is so proud to be selected as one of the first recipients of funding under this new program that was established by the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. And this grant could not be more needed. John Nolen Drive is busy. We have 48,000 vehicles a day going over these bridges. We have 4,000 bikes every day going over these bridges. This path is traveled more than any other in our community. And with all of that use comes a lot of wear and tear. The causeways, the bridges date back to 1965. And every year they are subjected to the salt and ice of Wisconsin winters and the busy lake and wave action in the summer months. So these bridges are very much in need of replacement. Reconstruction over the next few years will be very impactful. It's essential that we maintain this critical infrastructure. Teams are already designing the updates to the 6 bridges across the causeways, and shout out to the design team. Thank you so much for your work. We're overseeing lane configuration and cross-section changes, expanding and separating the current bike path from pedestrian facilities, making more room for everyone. Our main focus is on improving safety for all users, including pedestrians, bicyclists, transit riders, and of course, drivers. The improvements will make it safer for people to cross and enjoy access to our wonderful lakefront, and the new widened paths will provide ample space for pedestrians and cyclists and provide a better experience for everyone. We're also working on shoreline reconstructions along Lake Monona because water quality, stormwater management, and climate resilience are priorities for our community. And we want to take this opportunity to protect our shoreline and improve our stormwater systems. All of this is happening at the same time as another massive moment for our downtown waterfront, which is being completely reimagined via the Lake Monona Waterfront Design Challenge. So this grant allows us to jumpstart the first phase of that work and begin to realize our vision for a sustainable, accessible waterfront that welcomes everyone in our community. Infrastructure projects can be transformative opportunities that advance many goals and address a variety of community needs simultaneously. And I want to thank the President, Mitch, and the entire federal team again for making this transformation possible. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and it's my pleasure to turn the podium over to Secretary Kathy Blumenfeld.
Thank you, Mayor Rhodes Conway. I'm DOA Secretary Kathy Blumenfeld, and on behalf of Governor Evers and the great state of Wisconsin, we're thrilled to be here today for this incredible announcement from the Biden administration. As you probably know, Governor Evers is serious about building 21st century infrastructure in Wisconsin, including road safety, and he often likes to say, "Fix the darn roads." And there's no more important place in Madison than John Nolen Drive and the bridges that span Lake Monona. It's the entry point to our beautiful city, and it always makes me think of home. I'm proud to be joining the mayor, Congressman Pocan, and Mitch Landrieu today with this important announcement from the Biden administration announcing a generous $15 million federal grant. It's laying the foundation for making critical improvements that will impact Madison residents for decades to come. Since 2019, the state of Wisconsin has improved more than 5,800 miles of roads and nearly 1,600 bridges throughout Wisconsin. This John Nolen Drive project will soon join that list. As part of his budget proposals, the governor likewise has called for making critical investments in roads, highways, and bridges across the state, as well as paying down state debt transportation through revenue bonds through the use of our $7 billion surplus. Coming together on this project with our state, local, and federal partners will improve public safety, modernize stormwater management and flooding prevention, and set the precedent for infrastructure and transportation improvements which are sorely needed in many of our communities. It's all about laying the foundation for a bright transportation future, and we're proud to partner with everyone on this critical project. Thank you so much, and now I'd like to turn it over to Congressman Mark Pocan.
Well, good morning, everyone. Very glad to be here. This is one of those times that you get a chance to come and talk about the direct connection about what happens at the federal government level and how it connects the people back home. And this is a really big announcement. In the 6 terms I've been in Congress, every session there's one big bill you kind of look at. Last session, we were a little spoiled. We had 4 big bills. The American Rescue Plan that helped get us out of COVID, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill that I'm going to talk about in a second, the CHIPS and Science Act to make sure we're building more things back in America, and the Inflation Reduction Act to help reduce costs on energy and healthcare. But this bill in particular, for 4 presidents, Democratic and Republican, we've heard people talk about the need to invest in our infrastructure. Most of my time in Congress, the American Society of Civil Engineers has given our nation a D+ grade based on our infrastructure. We've needed to do this investment. But it was last session when we were in Congress and Joe Biden was president that we finally got it done. And this is going to mean at least $7+ billion coming to Wisconsin for all sorts of projects, from repairing our roads and bridges to investing in public transit and rail, expanding broadband, something that's crucial to a state like Wisconsin, securing clean water, building electric vehicle charging stations, and so much more. To quote the president, I think when he was vice president, this is a big, I won't quote him, deal. When you have this kind of investment coming back to our districts, and this $15 million for one of the busiest roads in Madison on John Nolen Drive to help rebuild 6 bridges is exactly why Ron Kind and Gwen Moore, Senator Tammy Baldwin, and myself voted for this bill, and why it's so important that we have it in place. So I'm just really excited. This week we had town halls. We talked a lot about infrastructure. Every single county we were at, it's very important to people. But to be able to announce this today is really a great thing. And it's a great honor to introduce someone who not only was a former mayor of New Orleans, former lieutenant governor of Louisiana, but I'll tell you, one of the most savvy senior advisors to the president, the person who's coordinating all of this infrastructure work across the country that's so important to places like Wisconsin. I want to introduce you to Mitch Landrieu.
Congressman, thank you so very much, and thank you for all of your incredible leadership. Secretary Blumenfeld, thank you. Please give the governor our regards. Mayor, thank you so much for having us in this incredible city on the edge of Lake Monona at the John Nolen Drive, where we're going to replace 6 of the bridges that the mayor talked about. I'm thrilled to be here on behalf of President Joseph Biden, who many years ago, I think in 1990, talked about the importance of rebuilding America. I am on the last leg of an Invest in America tour, 21 days. The president, the vice president, cabinet secretaries has crisscrossed this country, talking about why it's important to make the president's vision for America real. And it's fairly simple. That if you invest in America, if you invest in its people, if you invest in its infrastructure, nobody will ever beat America. We will prepare ourselves for the 21st century and build a better America that creates an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, which is specifically to say not the top down, because it never gets down to the bottom. This is about creating jobs, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But essentially what the president has done through the American Rescue Plan, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, the CHIPS Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, basically $1.7 trillion of investing in the people of America, where we're creating jobs, building generational wealth, and then actually creating the foundation for a strong economy, because you cannot have the strongest economy in the world without the strongest infrastructure. And so in all 3 of these bills, we have actually started to rebuild America and to make things in America again. And a shout out to Senator Tammy Baldwin and the congressman for talking about using products that are made in America with folks that are from America, and the working men and women that are behind us today, especially labor, who the president talks about all of the time, because the middle class built this country and labor built the middle class. So on behalf of the president, let me give a shout out to Layuna and all of our brothers and sisters from labor. The 40,000-foot view is that we're investing $1.2 trillion in rebuilding the roads, the bridges, the airports, the ports, the waterways, high-speed internet, safe air, clean water, and an entire clean energy economy. And part of that is rebuilding the bridges in America. There's a $40 billion commitment to rebuild 15,000 bridges in America. And the John Nolen Drive and the 6 bridges that actually allow it to do what it does is part of this massive investment in all of America. And so I'm pleased on behalf of the president to bring $15 million to this $30 million project that, as the mayor talked about, is going to connect communities, create economic development, increase shoreline stability, actually make sure that we get goods to shelves much faster, and at the end of the day, create good, high-paying jobs, many of which, by the way, do not require a college degree. There has never been a better opportunity in America for folks that build things, engineers, architects, electricians, consultant engineers, all the folks that are in the labor movement and all of the trades that are in there, to actually be able to build careers that can give their family the kind of financial stability that America needs to be strong again. So when you think about it, when you wrap it up, when you talk about then what the private sector is going to do. So, Mayor, you made a comment today that just rang true in my ears. Federal government shows up in partnership with the state, in partnership with the city, and all of a sudden we're blowing and gone, because not only are you building this project, but other major projects start to fold around this. Then you create a virtuous cycle of success. And then you know what happens? The private sector shows up, because they got the market signal. So somebody should ask themselves, is the president's vision actually working? On top of the $1.2 trillion, we have already had $435 billion of private sector investment responding to the market signal that has been sent. So people are either manufacturing batteries, they're building cars, they're laying high-speed internet, they are manufacturing chips, and all of those different announcements are hundreds and thousands of jobs at very high levels. In this state alone, there has been $4 billion of private sector investment all across the state in response to what the president has done. And then finally, just to bring it back home where it really matters in Wisconsin, as Mark Pocan said, you can expect about $7 billion plus, and most of it is on its way already to rebuild the lives. So at the end of the day, the president's view is if you invest in the people of America, if you invest in its infrastructure, you will create an America that is second to none in the world. And today is proof positive of it, and is a receipt, and it is a commitment that the president made, and today we are delivering on that promise. So God bless you all. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping the president invest in America, build a better America, starting right here on John Nolen Drive. God bless you all. Thank you so much, and happy to answer some questions if you have them. see, get the sign.
Chris? Chris Petakowski from City Engineering.
Soon and soon.
Yep, we're already well into the design phase and had a lot of public engagement. We're hoping to get plans ready for bid next fall, 2024, and start construction in 2025.
Any other questions? I'll take that one.
Yep.
Well, certainly anytime we have construction season here in Madison, it has an impact, as we have already seen this spring. But we're hopeful that what we're going to be able to do, not just with these bridge projects, but with the entire work along Lake Monona waterfront, is really going to be improve the safety of the transportation experience all along this waterfront and on down John Nolen Drive. So certainly when we're replacing the bridges, there will be an impact, but we're hopeful that the outcome is absolutely worth the construction process. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you all
Thank you,
so much
everybody.
again for coming. Thank you, Mitch. We really appreciate it.
Great to be